What I'm hearing this morning is alarming. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And it is an urgent call for accountability. Please hear me out on all of this one because I need all of your help. So for those that have been following the story, a few weeks ago, we shared huge news around the arson suspect thought to have began the fire on January 1st. And maybe even larger news that came around all of that was the first time that federal authorities actually confirmed that the January 7th fire, obviously the fire that took down nearly 7,000 structures, 5,400 homes, alongside mine, my family, our neighbors, 12 people died, was actually a continuation, they're saying a reignition of the January 1st fire called the Lackman fire 6 days prior. And what the new Los Angeles Times article is now saying is that firefighters were ordered to leave a smoldering burn site. Matter of fact, crews and firefighters and text messages that are now starting to come out were telling their chiefs that the ground was still hot, that there were still rocks warm to the touch. But even with the signs and the concern, they were told to roll up their hoses and leave the area. Now, firefighters knew that the area was still burning. Leadership told them to leave against express concerns. No thermal imaging, no water drops, no follow-up. And all of this in a time period days before there was news all over about what were unprecedented winds around the corner, plenty of days in advance. And as I'm sitting here reading all of this, maybe even the most concerning part of the article is where the interim LA Fire Department chief, Ronnie Villanova, says that the firefighters remained on the burn area for 36 hours until, quote unquote, they cold trailed it, meaning that he said they used their hands and their feet to feel and dig and confirmed that there were no hot spots and stayed on the perimeter until it was contained. And he says that the firefighters returned on January 3rd for another round of cold trailing after a report of smoke in the area. Quote unquote, he said, "We went back there again. We dug it all out again. We did everything that we could. Cold trailed again," he said. "We did all of that," quote unquote. So here's why reading that part is so concerning to me. I personally was up there on January 3rd. I went up there in the morning. As most of you know, the ground zero of January 1 and January 7 is right behind my house, a trail I would walk and run most mornings. I went up there on the 3rd. I went up there again on January 5th. You know who I saw up there? No one. There were no hoses on the ground. There were no people checking for hot stones. There were no airplanes above. There was no fire retardant thrown. It was empty on January 3rd, 2 days after Lackman. It was empty on January 5th, days and days before January 7th. Why were they told to leave when they knew the area was still burning? Why wasn't thermal imaging used? A simple flyover. Technology we have, common practice to make sure something is completely out. Why wasn't water dropped in buckets from the sky? Why wasn't fire retardant thrown right on the area? Why, knowing that quote unquote unprecedented winds were coming, something that was in news headlines days before, did we not go ensure a fire we knew was there was out? Why did leadership have people walk away when we had every indication, every alarm, every sign was flashing? Why were we willing to risk so much when protecting an entire community would have cost so little? These aren't political questions. These are leadership questions. These are human questions. And every one of these questions deserves truth. Now, don't misunderstand me. I believe our firefighters are absolute heroes. What I personally witnessed at my house, in my own burning attic, was absolute heroism, far greater and more extraordinary than any fire film that'll ever be created. So that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is our firefighters need to be heroes right now in an entirely different way. And it's going to take courage to run into a burning building. It's going to take courage to come out and tell the absolute truth. If you were there and have information, share the truth. You shouldn't have to fear retaliation or retribution. Truth protects, truth saves, and truth is what'll help us rebuild. And for everybody else in our community, our role is to share, to shine a light, to create the pressure, to call for accountability, and to create the safety for those that need to speak up. Truth and transparency is the protection and is the way. I know we can't take back or undo the devastation, the damage that has happened this year. We can't undo all of the pain that so many people are still living today. But we can do our part to change the environment that has allowed it. We can do our part to learn from it. We can do our part to create the truth, to allow us to make sure we never have to go through something like this again. Firefighters, thank you. And we ask you to keep protecting in a whole different way right now. And to our neighbors, our community, and supporters all over the world, keep sharing, keep shining a light, because truth and transparency, that is the way forward. And the question that still burns is why? 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 And the answer to that will define us and determine what we do next.